Hello everybody, I'm so glad you are here. My channel is all about art journal, mixed media painting, collage, assemblage and anything else that sparks my interest. In case you don't know me, I'm Grob and I love to inspire you. Hey everybody, welcome back, and if you are a newcomer, glad you found my channel. As always, I appreciate any shares and likes and comments that helps to grow my channel. Now today I'm going to talk about 3 different ways how I do my stencils. There may be other ways out there, just that's what I do. Now the first way I'm going to show you, and I think that's the easiest and I think that's something everybody can do. I do collect those plastic pieces from packaging. I cut them, just the flat part that was actually sort of a lid, so I did get rid of the rim around so that I have a flat piece. And then I started making some shapes, and that's really simple. I just use some sort of a paper and figure out what kind of shape I want. That's really simple, and I like it somewhat symmetrical. That's why I have folded my paper. But in some designs you just draw it directly without any fold because you want sort of an asymmetric shape. So that is my shapes I want to have cut out so that I can use it for my artwork. Now next step, it's pretty simple. I just go along the edges. Try not to move it, which sometimes is hard. But I'm not a perfectionist, so that is my first shape I want to cut out. Now maybe this I'm going to turn upside down so that I have more space in between the shapes. Okay, that are my shapes I want to cut out. Now to start the cutting process, this is a pretty heavy plastic, so I'm gonna start first by putting a slit into my form, and then I'm actually gonna use the scissors because I kind of feeling it is gonna be tough. But on the other hand, I'm gonna have that stencil for a long time. And as usually, I'm gonna speed up some parts of this video because yeah, it's just cutting out the shapes. I try to follow along the lines the best I can, but again, it's a handmade thing, and I actually like sometimes the irregularity from the handmade things. Not always though. So I think you get the idea here. I'm gonna cut out the rest off camera as soon as I have finished this one. Now another way which is a little bit different, and I have to grab my stuff here. I have already preheated my hot glue gun here. I don't know whether you can see. Here we go. So I have a piece of fabric underneath to protect against the heat, and that is a baking parchment paper, and I did fold it in half so that I know I can't go over this line. You're gonna see later why I need to fold that over. So it is a really simple thing, but I do it standing up. So there are 2 ways. You can just start at one point, but sometimes I like to draw in a little bit an area where I want my pattern. So so just so that I don't waste too much of the hot glue. Now the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a border, because we need a sort of border for any stencil. And I want that pretty thick, obviously. And no, it's not straight. It's not a straight line. Okay, I'm running out. Here we go. And it's thick and thin, whatever comes out. Okay. Now we can think about starting a pattern. Let's start with a circle here and then do like petals. Why not? You're basically drawing with the glue gun. You have to make sure that you have a good connection between the single lines, or otherwise it's going to break apart when you remove it. That's not what we want. And yes, it takes quite a bit of glue, and this is I would say a medium-sized tip of the glue gun. Now I'm done with the glue gun. Now there are all those little strings here. I'm gonna pull them off and make sure it is actually cooled down. So I'm gonna pull those off. Now this thingy is rather bumpy, and we want the stencils as flat as possible on both sides. It's pretty flat on the underside, but not up here. So that's why I have my craft iron here. And I just have to wait until it's hot, because I can't run both. I can't run the heat gun and the craft iron. That's too much. Yeah. And I want that thingy flat, so I'm gonna iron it. And yes, it's gonna spread the lines. So that looks pretty flat to me now. Let's turn it over. Yeah. Okay. Now we have to let it cool down before we can peel it off the parchment paper. So while that is cooling off, I show you the third way I do my stencils. So now the third way how I do my stencils, and those are more symmetrical, more regular. I use an app called Procreate, where I design my stencil. Then I go to my printer with that, print it out. That's actually not the right one, that's another one. Let's grab this one. Okay, that's the one we are looking at, sorry. And we are looking at that way. Yeah, that's the way it is. So I do that on Procreate, which has a symmetric function. So if I draw just one half of the design, it automatically draws it on the other side too. Then I go to my printer, I print it as large as I can, and then I go to my electronic cutter, scan it in. I do have a Brothers Canon cut, but that works with other electronic cutters too. So I have it the large size I want it, and then I do it in my plotter, in my cutter, size it down to the size I want. So that's what I get as stencils. And again, it's an A4 size sheet, so I'm gonna print it twice or cut it twice. So that's how I get it smaller than the actual thing. That's really easy. So that's another way how I do my stencils. Now let's see whether this thingy is, well, it's still a little warm. Let's see if I can peel it up without problems. That works. So here you have a stencil from the hot glue, and I'm gonna put it on here so you actually can see it, what it looks like. So that's my 3 ways how I do stencils. Don't get me wrong, I still buy stencils. Just yeah, but I'm actually thinking about, I know I'm gonna make stencils for my shop also. Those gonna be on the Brothers Canon cut. There's gonna be cut stencils, not laser cut. So they are pretty soon available on my website too. Now let's play a little bit with, at least with those 2 stencils. So I was thinking I'm gonna use this one first, and then I'm gonna use that one just because I can or so. And I think I'm gonna add just a little bit of white gesso. Then I'm gonna go in with the postcard pens. Just want to prove that you actually really can make your stencils and you can use it. So I'm just using a little bit of gesso. Now I'm gonna offset my stencil slightly. I'm not sure how much you can see it in the video, but I on purpose do offset my stencil. Well, that's not something normally I would do, like combine 3 different stencils. I mean, just for the fun of this video. That's how I make stencils and how I use them, some of the ways. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you soon again. Take care. Bye.